Hey, Gloucester Township, I'm Joe Allen. This is the Restore GT podcast. And if you've paid attention over the last few months, we've talked about Board of Education candidates and the Board of Education campaigns that are out right now with the election coming up on November 8th. We put it out there that we wanted to talk to Board of Education candidates, and today, three of them have reached out. The first one being Jen O'Donnell, current Board of Education member. So I'm excited to talk to Jen. She's one of the few people that have broken through and won for the good team. So we've got some questions here for you. But first off, tell us about yourself.
So Jen O'Donnell, and I have to preface this by saying that everything that I say here today is my personal opinion and not that of any position that I may hold. I have been a Gloucester Township resident since 1984, long time. I went to Triton High School. My husband is a Gloucester Township resident. He went to Highland High School, and my kids went to Timber Creek, so that's a lot of fun. I started going to Board of Education meetings when my kids were in elementary school because my son was being bullied. So that was my first experience. And one meeting that stands out in particular that really got me going all the time was when the superintendent wanted to rearrange principals. And at Union Valley, Miss Elwell was there, and she put her foot down with the bullying, which my son encountered for, a long time. And so I didn't want her to leave Union Valley, so I went and spoke at that meeting. And that was the first of many, many meetings. My kids are now in college. And I was only going to do this for 2 terms till my daughter graduated. But we're in the middle of some stuff that I'm fighting for. I've been fighting for 6 years, and I want to see it through. So that's why I am running again this year. When I first started, my husband was not for this. And this year, he's actually pushing me to run. So it's come all the way around, and I want to see these things through. There's important work happening, and things are moving in a great direction from what I can see, being involved for so long. So that's why I'm here.
I think there's been a push too. I've seen a push for people saying, "Look, you've got to do this again." There was a huge push. Yes. Yeah. Yes. So you've covered the first question, which is what got you interested in it. What do you think makes you different than either other candidates or even other people that are already on the school board?
So the school board is made up of a bunch of different personalities, opinions, backgrounds. And so when you come together, you're one. You're 9 different people, 9 different opinions, 9 different personalities, but you have to work as one board. And sometimes that's trying, I don't have a political background. I have run for office, yes. Mm-hmm. I'm not backed by politicians. I don't have a political background. My kids went through this entire system of schools that I don't know that all of the other ones have. I'm willing to speak to residents. I'm willing to answer questions. I'm willing to put myself out there as much as needed, and I don't see that with all of the other candidates.
This brings up another good question. What do you think makes in general a Board of Education member effective?
Someone that's plugged into, well, first of all, someone that comes to meetings, because honestly, if you don't go to the meetings and you don't see how they're ran, once you're sitting up there, you don't know when the proper time to vote is, when the proper time to abstain is, when the proper time for a board member to speak is. After going for many, 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 many years, I needed no coaching in those areas because I experienced it for, 10 years or so before I even got on there.
This is the same argument that my team last year made about attending council meetings, just getting familiar with the process. I mean,
absolutely.
How do you know that you're going to fit into that process if you've never done it before? And
absolutely.
I think that's some of the criticism now, I guess, on some of the people that came out of nowhere, that nobody involved in the system that knew who they were,
right?
And now they're on the scene and they're proven leaders and they're ready to go. So yeah, I think that's a good point. That is really important.
I would say that watching them at home is a benefit. But in honesty, Gloucester Township Public Schools just started to do that. So it's only been the past couple of months where you could actually experience the meeting through watching it online.
Oh, okay, you can do that now.
You can do that. You can do that now. If you go to the website.
I've not. I've been to. You know what? It's funny because I've been to one of. I've been to one meeting. I don't have kids in the system, so it wasn't a huge interest. I've been interested in council and some of the politics there. But I did go to the meeting where they replaced Carolyn Grace when she left, and that was one of the defining moments for me. Just seeing how cliquish what we call the GT political machine is, and that was one of the most disgusting things that I've seen, and it just furthered my want to make a change here. So appreciate you being part of that, not part of that clique there.
Yes.
And kind of always from what I've heard, is always kind of doing the right thing. So
doing my best.
I guess that brings up another good question. What are you funded by? Anyone? Is there anyone other than you? Any organizations? Any?
Nothing.
Huge donations.
I wish. Because I would send mailers. I would. 8x10 glossies, I would do that.
Yeah. There's a lot of those. There's a lot of those going out.
Yeah, you won't get one with my name on it.
We've gotten some of the big ones here. They've
yes.
These are expensive.
They are expensive. To go to every household, they are very expensive.
That is that's a lot of money. I did check, and somebody sent me, I guess, their finance. They just got a $10,000 donation from I guess a PAC here. So,
but what's interesting is that when you then look up the PAC that gave them that $10,000, where their money came from, and then you back that all the way out, it's an interesting path to follow. I have not done it this year or while I've been running, but I've done it before, and
I didn't even have to do it. It's funny how this whole thing just keeps rolling and building because now people just send me stuff.
Yes.
So it's kind of great. It's great to know that there's a community out there that's not any kind of backed by anything. So as far as the township itself, what challenges do you think the township faces in the schools?
Oh, goodness, there's so many. The budget, number one. I mean, people are hurting. Pockets are empty. It's been a rough time. I am no longer on the committee that deals with the budget, but I have previously been on it. And we held the line, like sending the business administrator and the superintendent back to the offices to figure it out some more, because we really did not want to raise taxes on people. And so the budget is a tough one. I would say most of the township is probably concerned about test scores. I don't put a lot of stock in test scores. I was one of those parents that refused the park for my kids. It is a moneymaker, and when companies are trying to make money off the education of kids, I had a hard time with it. So we have to test all of our kids, and so I was against kids with special needs having a computer read to them. I thought that was a difficult way for them to take a test, and they would struggle a lot more than a teacher maybe, reading the questions to them and having them be able to answer. So a lot of people are worried about the test scores. Here's what the test scores do. They look pretty on Zillow when people are trying to, look for a house.
Property values.
That's the school rating is 100% test scores. And so I don't put a whole lot of stock in that. I think our schools are amazing. I think our teachers are amazing. All of our employees, honestly, from the guys who empty and clean the trash cans up to the superintendent, We have a lot of amazing people that work in our schools and are dedicated to our kids. And I can't say enough that they're the ones that are going to move us forward, not the Board of Education.
Gotcha.
We oversee some stuff. We vote yes or no on programs that they may want to institute, but we don't create those programs. We only say yes or no whether you should use those programs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't create the budget. We say yes or no on whether we want to approve that budget.
Okay. Yeah, I think a lot of, we just all got our municipal taxes increased this year, and it was nice to see that the schools, they held the line there on it.
Yes.
So that was what
We've done it for several years,
Yeah.
actually. So it's coming, though, guys. I mean, salaries are increasing.
Salaries are increasing. Everything's getting more
It
expensive,
is coming,
too,
and
so.
our employees deserve to make a decent wage, which is one of the fights that I don't want to give up on right now.
So outside of that, everyone is, they're interested in the children, the budget, but then a big part of that too, I think, is transparency in the system. What do you think about transparency and how to improve transparency? I think
So what I can say is I've been attending board meetings for a long time. And where we are now and where we were then is black and white. So different. So I've seen the growth. People just coming in don't see that because they don't know what was.
Okay.
So there's a lot more conversations happening with the board in public, which I truly appreciate. When we can have dialogue back and forth behind those tables, I think the public gets a lot more out of that. So they don't always agree on everything. Well, they are going to vote yes, but here are the reasons why they're voting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that never happened before. The fact that we're live streamed now, that never happened before. So I see us moving in the right direction. And I would certainly listen to residents on their opinions on what we can do to even improve that. One of the biggest thorns in my side, and has been for a long time, and I know Dina Hendry has mentioned it before, is that the meetings are held on the same night as council meetings. So
Yeah.
people do have to pick and choose. For me, that's not transparent government. We're not letting people attend both meetings. And so if the tides change this election cycle, I think I would push to move our meetings. And a lot of board members might be upset with that because they committed to Monday nights, but there would be conversation around that.
Yeah, I think it's tough to be able to choose, to have to choose
It
between.
is, especially when you're a parent and you're invested in the schools and you have kids. It's hard to choose.
I mean, you're a parent on one hand, and then on the other hand, you're a taxpayer and a homeowner
Exactly.
too. So it's tough to
And
choose.
topics on both are so extremely important. On both.
Yes.
And then you have to choose what's more important to you. It's not real fair. It's not real transparent.
So some of the issues we've gotten questions, not as many questions as I've really wanted from the public, but we did get some questions. And one of the first questions is, do you oppose social and emotional standards being incorporated into the curriculum?
I don't oppose it. I don't oppose it. Kids are in our schools for 7 hours a day. It's, where they're hanging out with their friends and interacting with adults. And so I think it's important to touch on those subjects. I mean, hopefully parents are touching on them at home. And then we're just kind of, giving a second opinion on that and kind of building on what parents are teaching. I do think it's important. When my kids started, they started the integrated program with the preschools, with the autism preschool, and then they integrated the typical kids with it. And so what I saw from my kids in being involved in that is they are more tolerant of other people, of differences in other people. They're more caring than I think our generation ever was. So to integrate those programs and build on those, emotional learning, I think it's beneficial.
Okay.
I'm not opposed.
Okay, good. What about, I guess one of the questions we got in was, are you aware of the time constraints needed? But I guess you are fully aware of the time constraints needed. But I guess speak on that a bit.
To do the job really well, there is time commitment in it. We get our packet typically online, but mine have been paper lately. But it's a lot to look through. So you read through the agenda. There's some supporting documents that go along with it. I take it a few steps further. When I first got on the board, I requested all of the itemized bills from the political donors that we have contracts with. Wow. So the Wade, Long and Woods, the Panonis, they donate to political organizations in our town, and I wanted to look at their itemized bills. So I took that a step further, and I request those. And now I see recently that those itemized bills are being sent out to all of the board members and not just me. So I was kind of excited about seeing that. If I see a contract for someone, I will Google them. I'll see who they are, where they're from. I have, a nice little support system behind me where I can reach out to certain people and go, "Oh, can you look up and see if this company donated?" So I take it a little bit further, but I spend hours on that packet over the weekend, going through everything and making an informed vote. So it's not just 1 hour. And then there's committee meetings, there's events, there's a lot that goes into it. So it's not an easy job.
Keeping things honest is definitely it is.
It's not easy.
It is.
It's not easy.
It's one of those things you wake up 3 o'clock in the morning and you're just thinking about, man, I have to go look at this now.
I have lost sleep over meetings. Actually, the last meeting.
Oh, really?
I lost sleep over that meeting. It was a tough meeting. The bus drivers came out in full force and gave us their opinion on how work was for them. And 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm all in my feels with so many different emotions. But the one I walked away with the most was proud. I was proud of those bus drivers. I was proud that they came out. I was proud that they spoke their mind. And I am proud that they stuck up for themselves. Nothing makes me more warm and fuzzy inside than people advocating for themselves. And so it was a tough meeting. I am the transportation chair. So I kind of felt a lot of responsibility coming at me. But I was so proud of them. And listen, board members don't run the district. We know what we're told. So when we're in committee meetings, we're in there, with the supervisors, with the superintendent, with those people that are telling us how the department is going. And we take them at their word. This is how it's going. So for the bus drivers to come out and give us a different perspective on that, I loved it. I'm excited.
It brings up one of the questions. It reminded me of one of the questions that we just got. How much power do you believe you have over the administration?
So we hire the superintendent. And so we have to make sure that the superintendent is great at what they do. They put everyone else into place. So we approve them or deny the other hires, but it is his responsibility to put people at the top that can run the departments. And so we have to put our trust in him that he's hiring the best people to do that.
Okay. What changes would you like to see?
It's hard. I'm behind the scenes, and so I see a lot of things changing.
Okay.
And so I truly believe that the board is moving in the right direction. And something shifted this year, and I can't put my finger on it, but something shifted this year and maybe it's Mr. Marks being the president. I voted no on him to be the president. But with the things going on this year, I do think he fell into the best position he could have. So I stand behind him in the decisions that he's making and the way that he is leading the board. I believe that between president and board members, there's a lot more transparency going on than ever was before, but the public doesn't see that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I love this this positive outlook that you have on it, because you've kind of been the challenger to say the machine that kind of controls Gloucester Township. Yes. You and Marianne. Mm-hmm. I remember pushing for you guys when you were campaigning, just because of that. You just regular people with no big agenda, no donors. You're just looking out for the best interest of the teachers and the children. Mm-hmm. And
yes,
it's great to hear. It's great to hear, kind of the opposition from last year with such a great positive outlook on things. That is, I don't have a big stake in the school system here, but that makes me really kind of positive towards that. So
maybe some of it was Marianne and I for a long time, kind of against the world, and then Linda and Ellen got on. So maybe some of that shift is the power in numbers concept. I don't know. Maybe it's, President Anthony Marks going, we're just going to do things differently. I'm not sure. But things are moving in a positive direction. And I'm glad at where we were and where we're going. I was thinking about it this morning. You might not know, when you clean your house, you take things apart, things become dirtier. And then you start putting things do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And then it becomes clean. That's kind of how I feel like the Board of Ed's gone for me.
Okay.
Kind of took things apart and things got a little dirty. And now we're putting things back together. And I do think they're going together nicely. I really do.
Very nice. Well, I think that's all the questions that I have and that the people had. Was there anything else that you'd like to add?
I only want to reiterate yet again, I can't get myself in trouble. As a board member, you have to be very careful of what you say. And so I have to say everything that I've said today is my opinion and not of any position that I hold. Gotcha. And I appreciate the time. I really do.
Absolutely. So this was, like we mentioned before, we put it out there several weeks ago that we wanted to interview candidates, and rather than chasing down candidates that were not going to respond to us, kind of like last year when Miss Hendry did the interviews, only certain candidates decided they wanted to speak up. So we put it out there and thought that, we're going to let the candidates reach out to us, and they did, and I appreciate you reaching out to us.
Of course.
If we've got your sign here, by the way. Beautiful sign that you have here.
I love my signs.
So if I suppose if anyone wants one of those signs, are there any left?
Yes, there are some left. I don't have a boatload, but yes, there are some left. Reach out. I'd be happy. And I had someone message me yesterday and say, hey, I saw your signs around town. Can I get one? Absolutely.
How can
I'll deliver.
They find you? Just Facebook?
Jennifer O'Donnell, Facebook. Yep.
Okay.
I'm out there.
Sounds good. Well, we thank you for your time.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
And folks, November 8th is the election for Board of Education. So make sure you come out. Thanks. Talk to you soon.